And thank you all for attending. Our agenda for today, then, we're going to look at the GCologists business model, just to make sure that we're all very clear about this. We still get questions about people saying, well, what is a partner, and could this person be a partner, and so on. So we'll go through that as well. And then we're going to look at the two different entities of the business model. So we look at clients first of all and understand, what are the different lead generation possibilities in the GCO system, and how do you use the GC platform to win new clients, and what are the products that we've got that are on the platform at the moment, and which ones are going to come onto it as well. Then we're going to look at our other entity, if you like, GC Partners, and focus on the GC Partner Introduction Program as well. Then we've got this concept of in-house GCologists, which I think isn't always really understood so much. So I'm going to focus on that as well, in terms of what is an in-house GCologist, and why are they advantageous to you from a commercial perspective as well. I'll take you through that. And then finally, we're going to end up with a little bit of a future, some of the things that are coming down the line as well. So that's what we're going to focus on. Let's start with the business model. In our world, in the GC Index, we have two types of organizations. We have clients. Now, a client is basically anyone that you as partners are selling to. Yeah, and you're helping them to improve their operations in whatever way, shape, or form that you'd like to. It could be a school, it could be a university, it could be a a major company, and so on. And we split our clients down into three types. We have for-profit, and we've got a price list for each of these as well. So for-profit organizations, not-for-profit organizations, which includes public sector, charities, and so on, and education. So an education organization for us is any organization that is providing at least part of its education to pre-career people, so to young people, basically. Now, these organizations, these clients, are using the GC Index for their own business benefits. And within that client, potentially, they could have a number of GCologists. Now, we call them in-house GCologists. So these are individuals within those businesses that are using the GC Index in whatever way they might want to. And they tend to be working with you to help deliver the GC Index across the organization. Okay. Then the second entity we have is our partners. Now, a partner is an organization that is selling GC Index-based solutions to their clients. And we'll look at that in a little bit more detail in a second. The key for a partner is that there's always at least one GCologist, but there could be many GCologists. There could be hundreds of GCologists in there. And then we've got the GC Index. And obviously, we're here to support our partners, and we're using the GC platform to help us to do that. Like we said, a partner is selling its services to clients. So a partner is an organization. So each of you as partners will have your limited company, or your company will be the partner, and the partner is the one that has a commercial relationship with us. You could have many GCologists working inside your partner, and we've got quite a few of those in our community. But what you're basically doing is providing services to your clients in at least one of the 20 business impact areas. And this is how you can tell whether or not a company is a client or a potential partner. So is that company's business involved in providing services to their clients in one of these 20 areas? Obviously, if it's a pharmaceutical company, no. If it's a retail company, no. If it's a oil company, no. So the vast majority of companies are clients, right? But then we've got these service providers, GC partners, and I've got included a whole number of examples below there as well. Now, when we go back to our business model, we have over 4,000 clients, we have 309 GC partners, and we have us as the GC Index. So our clients buy services and GC Index products from partners, and our partners purchase from us. Okay, so clients can only purchase GCI products and indeed in-house GCologists, I'll come on to that in a minute, through GC partners. And that's our model. We're a purely partner-centric business. So we're totally supporting you as organizations. Now, let's have a look at those two elements then. So a client then. When we see clients, there are three mechanisms for generating leads with clients. The first one is all of you as partners are going out with your own business development activities, talking to clients, etc. And you're then coming to our platform to use gift links to help you engage with those clients. And you might be using a client registration discussion form as well. Now that client registration one is important, and again, we'll come back to that in terms of why it's there, but that's a straightforward approach. We have two other lead generations though. The second one is if you have a GC partner page with Powered by Solutions on our website, then any leads that comes through those from the website activity, someone comes on, they want to register a lead on there, that comes directly to you as a partner. There's no additional cost, it's at no cost, and those leads come generated through. And then of course you'll engage with them in the normal way as you go through. The third way we have lead generation is that where we get inquiries on our website who are just generic inquiries. So they haven't come to a partner page. They've just come to us and said, look, we're interested in the GC index. Now in that scenario, and I'll take you through the steps on it, we will have a conversation with them and we will help them determine which partner is the best partner to support them in what they do. And then we will approach that partner and say, look, we have a lead for you. Would you like it? In return, we then get 10% of your services revenue in the first 12 months following the first invoice. Now, all of this is in your GC partner agreement, so hopefully you should be fairly familiar with it as well. But I'll take you through the process of how it actually works in reality. So let's first of all look at that second one. To create a GC partner page, all you have to do is complete a GC partner website form, and the same with each Powered by solution, create a solution website form. You can find them in the resources hub. If you go onto the GC platform, look in resources, just search for website and the forms will come up. When we look at the third one though, it's slightly different. The third one, first of all, we have a kind of a criteria that we have first of all. So what we're looking for a partner to be eligible for us to pass leads on is first of all that they do have a partner page. It's really difficult for us to say, yeah, use this partner when they're not actually on our website. So that's the first thing. So going back to that point again, to get a partner website page on there. Secondly, that you need to have at least one GCologist who has attended the gift link engagement session, at least one who's attended the team impact workshop session, and at least one who's done at least 10 impact reviews as well. And finally, obviously, you agree to reimburse us the 10% piece. Now, you might be wondering, well, how do we know these three? Again, on the new GC platform, we've got these three elements. So at the top, we've got GCO experience, which increases every time you do a review, an impact review as a GCologist. So we can see whether someone's done 10 or more of those. We've also got whether or not you've attended the gift link engagement session, GLES, or whether you attended the team impact workshop session as well. So again, those are the kind of criteria for that element. If you haven't attended either of those sessions, then just go to the support dashboard and you can just click in to book in on any of these. They're free. They're 2 hours training, but they're free. And then once you're on them, that will update your platform and we'll know, and then you're eligible for lead support as well. When we are speaking to the client, before we determine which is the right kind of partner to introduce them to, we will ask them certain questions. The first one is, how big an organization would they like to work with? Some organizations want to work with single people organizations, depending on their size. Some of them want to work on bigger ones. So that's the first question we'll ask them, is what kind of size of organization will you work with? Then we'll ask them about which of the 20 business impact areas are really important to you. So we've got the 20 areas. And ideally, the partners that we'll look most favorably on are those which may have Powered by solutions in those impact areas. Because again, we can point them to them on the website as well. We can say, look, this is the partner that we'd like to take you through. Is there a particular location? Do you want GC partner? So, are they UK based, South African based, wherever it might be? and also have they got particular experience in working with particular industries. Now, on our platform, we don't have anything to do with industries at the moment, but we will be putting some things in there so you can register and say which industries you've got experience in, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just going to help everyone understand it. So that's the kind of process that we go through with client leads. And fundamentally, for any of those 3 leads, when you're selling to a client, then you are benefiting from a 30% discount on all GCologists products. Doesn't matter what product it is, it's 30%. Now, for those of you that might be consultancies who are focused on margin, that equates to a 43% margin. Now, most consulting businesses will work on pretty much 30% margin. So this is margin enhancing for any consultancy business as well, so which is very powerful. There are 3 price lists, as I mentioned earlier on. If you're selling to a for-profit company or a not-for-profit company or to an education company. And pricing is dependent on the country as well, where that client resides. Obviously, different countries have got different economic situations, and we use the World Bank's annual classification of country income to determine which kind of pricing there is. And if you go onto the resources hub on the GC platform and type in price, you'll get all of the different pricing calculators for GC Partners. And there's also the World Bank classifications for country pricing. So you'll see all the different countries and what their tiering is as well. So you can identify, if I'm talking to let me step back. Any partner can sell anywhere around the world. So if you're based in South Africa and you're selling to someone in India, then you need to look at the Indian pricing for that client. Yeah. At any time at all, if you need a bit of help with pricing, just come and ask us. Yeah, we're there to help. But the GC platform in the order process when you're buying is soon going to be showing you the price dependent on the country you're selling to, and the organizational type, whether it's for profit, not for profit, and so on. Okay. When we are talking about winning clients, obviously using the platform to help win clients, we've got the gift link process. So the request a gift link button is pretty much on every page in the GC platform, and that allows you to obviously request a gift link. The key thing that we've changed here is that if you do have their LinkedIn profile of that individual that you want the gift link for, do enter it in here, because that means that you get immediately a gift link will be put into your platform, which is you don't have to wait, you can get straight away. If you don't happen to have the gift link, it's not the URL link, it's not a problem. It just means that we manually have to check it. So we commit to doing that between 1 and 2 working days. Yeah, so again, put the URL in and you can get it to you straight away. And the other one is register a client discussion. Now, this is really important for a number of reasons. As we just talked about, that 3rd lead process where we just get a generic lead, when we're talking to someone who's approached us, we will always ask them, have you spoken to a partner already? That's our prime starting point. But they don't always tell us if they have or they haven't. Depends on what they're saying. And if they have been talking to you, but you haven't registered that you've been speaking to them, or you haven't used a gift link with them, then we've got no idea that you've been speaking with them. Yeah, and we'll have a conversation with them, and we'll go down the route of then asking them which type of partner they want to work with, and we'll introduce a different partner potentially, okay, which we don't want to do. So this becomes important. If you don't want to use a gift link with a client, that's okay at the moment, but register their client discussion. Yeah, and that does 2 things. One, obviously, it makes us aware of it, but secondly, it also means that it logs it in your platform. Now, in our GCosystem part of the platform, we've got 4 elements there, but one of them is potential clients. So whenever you register a gift link or you register a client discussion, that opportunity will appear in your potential clients list. So it's also giving you a list and a track record of what activity that you're doing with your clients and your business development. So you can always see that in in this list as well. And once they become clients, then you see them in a different box, which is your client box, where you can now see any organization. Now, the definition of a client is an organization that has got at least one purchased link from you. They will appear in here, okay, in terms of how many you've got and so forth. And finally, in this section, right now, we've only got the GC Index on the platform. So that's the only product that you can purchase on the platform from us. But we've got quite a lot to come onto the platform as well. So all the team snapshots are going to be there, the organizational impact map. We've got a new tool coming out, which is a team diagnostic, which you can use with your client teams on a regular basis and see how they track over time. Obviously, the Young People Index, GC 360, and the Impact Awareness and Evaluation tool. So they'll all be coming onto the platform. So before I move on to the next section, let me just see what chats we've got on here. So Ian, with the GCL experience, does it pick up legacy reviews? No, it doesn't, Ian, but all you have to do is go back through your platform and mark as reviewed the people that you want to invite to the platform. Now, what happens in that process then is that they will get an automated email. That automated email will say to them that they can log on to the GC platform. It gives them a log-on account. Most of you have done this already yourselves. And then when they get into the platform, they can see their report, they can download their report, and they can see information about them. They will also be asked as part of that process to give a score or a rating of how closely they felt that the GCNX maps to them. Now, we call that face validity. And currently, so we're possibly the only tool that we're aware of, by the way, that measures this. So we're currently at 92% face validity. Now, bearing in mind that we've got 100,000 profiles, that's not bad, actually. It's very, very powerful. The second question it asks is, how do you rate your impact review? Yeah, and again, that's on a score of 5. That's currently at, I think, about 94% of the top 2 levels, so good or excellent. Yeah, so that, which is great. So hopefully that helps in. So for everyone on the platform, if you've got people that you want to, I would encourage you to look at your links that you've already in the platform. Decide who you want to go back to say, look, you can now get logged onto the GC platform. You can now see your report, download your report. You can see anyone else in your organization that's taken the GC index. And if you're being given permission, then you can actually see their results as well. So this generates a lot more interest across the organization as well from that side. What's the next question I've got? Where do I find the support hub so I can book TIW? The GC Partner support dashboard is in the resources hub. The resources hub is on the GC platform. Hopefully that's answered that question. Just go onto the resources hub and type in dashboard and it will come up. Yeah, you'll see it straight away. And then once you've got the PDF, it's just a simple click on it. It's a calendar link and you can just book up on any of the elements there. Can you explain further on the team diagnostic tool, please? Ah, Julia, yes. Not right now, if that's okay, because it's Dr. John's favorite little project at the moment, and we're going to do a big fanfare about it when we put it into the platform. So, but at the highest level, it means that as practitioners, you can work with teams over time, and you can understand then how they might have changed over time and how aligned they might be to whatever they're trying to achieve over time as well. So it's like an impact awareness tool, but for teams. The other great thing about the GC Partner Program is that we've got a number of different ways of generating revenue streams. Now, the biggest challenge for all of our partners, which is a common challenge, is that you're all limited by one thing, which is your time. Yeah, there's only so many hours in a day as you can go and consult. So what we've tried to do is to come up with different ways that we can generate different revenue streams that aren't limited by your time. Okay. The first one of those is the GC Partner Introduction Program. Now, we've already said what a GC Partner is in terms of the type of organization, and I've got loads of examples down there. You know, any recruitment company, consulting companies, well-being specialists, all these different areas. We suspect that potentially 25 to 30% of all companies in the world could potentially be GC partners based on the services that they deliver to their clients. Yeah. But why introduce them? The first thing, it's easy. It's 2 simple steps, and I'll go through it really well. And the whole point of this is it's not supposed to be difficult, because it's supposed to be very passive. It's not taking up much of your time at all, because ideally what we'd like you to be doing is talking to clients and winning business and so on. And the second thing is it generates potentially significant passive revenue stream for you over the 10-year period. Now, what happens here is you will earn 10% of whatever a partner that you introduce buys from us over the next 10 years. But also, since the 1st of January this year, we've also included that you'll also benefit from 5% of whatever the partner you've introduced, they are going to then introduce their own partners and whatever product they buy. So it's 2 levels now. It only used to be 1 level. Okay. And the reason we've done that is because we kind of sat back and thought, well, actually, there's 2 real benefits to someone introducing a partner to us. One, obviously, is that they're going to be purchasing product and using it with their clients. But of course, the other one is that they're going to introduce other partners. So why shouldn't the introducing partner benefit from that as well? Which is why we've done it this way. Now, just so that you're aware of what that means, it means that if you have already introduced partners and they've introduced partners, they will start becoming part of your revenue stream from whatever is bought from the 1st of January this year. Okay, so all the partners you've already introduced, great. They've got partners that you're going to benefit from that as well. So, how many organizations, large or small, do you know in your network that are delivering services to their clients in these areas? And all you have to do is think about it and introduce us. 73% of all of our partners, 309, have already been introduced. So everyone's doing it. Yeah, it's quite simple. It's easy to do. So again, look at that. And the steps of doing it are quite simple. First of all, our 3rd button at the top, which is on every single page of the GC platform, is register a potential GC partner. So you're just putting in the details of that. Now, what that does, it registers them, which is the important point. And when you go and look at the potential GC partner piece of your GCosystem, you can see them in there. They'll be under the status registered but not introduced. So there's 2 steps. Okay. The second step is that we need you to introduce them. Yeah, it could be a simple email, whatever it might be, etc. Because at this point, what happens then is that we will mark them as registered, but we'll do everything else, right? We will then talk to them, we'll bring them on board, etc. You don't have to do anything. Yeah. And in the platform, they're now noted as exclusivity period has been activated. Now, that exclusivity period is 12 months. We've extended it from 6 months it was before. And that means that no one else can introduce this organization within that 12 months. And it gives us, as the GC, the next 12 months to talk to them to get them on board. At the end of that 12-month period, if they haven't come on board yet, it doesn't mean that this goes away. It will still be active unless another partner comes in and introduces them subsequently, in which case, then it will not be active anymore. Okay. And then once they do become a partner, then they'll appear in your GC partner portfolio. And you can then see how long you've got to earn 10 years worth of passive income from them as well. Okay, so that process goes through. Now, importantly, I do not recommend that you use a gift link with a potential partner. Okay. At the moment, or certainly in the old system, we tended to find that the majority of the time people will go, oh, this is a potential partner opportunity. I'm going to use a gift link with them. So off they would go, get a gift link, etc., etc. Now, unfortunately, we never heard anything else after that. Yeah, and in fact, we recommend that you hand them over immediately to us. First of all, to stop you spending your time, because it's going to take you an hour to do a review and communication. And also, we've got a bigger chance of converting them than you do, because that's what we do. It's our job day in, day out. And we've currently got over 1,000 potential partner opportunities where partners have used gift links and we've never heard from them again. Right? So they're all sat there. So look at your potential partners in the list in your platform, and the probability is that the vast majority of them have not been introduced to us. So if you do have any in there, just reintroduce them, and you can potentially use the excuse of inviting them to the new GC platform to re-engage them. Yeah, and at the same time, introduce either myself or Nathan, and we'll work it through and take them through that. But the intention here is that we don't want you spending your time on this process. You know, we're in the best place to do it. We do it day in, day out, and we're quite frankly quite good at it as well. So hand them over to us as quickly as possible, and then you can concentrate on, you know, working with your clients and your business development. And this just happens in the background. Okay, right. Any questions on that? Let's have a look. Yeah, and the same again, Ian, in terms of the process of reaching out to people that you might have talked to as potential partners and given a gift link, you probably need to put an email to them separately, not just mark them as read to introduce, sorry, mark them as reviewed to introduce them to the platform. Basically saying, look, I know it's a while since we last spoke. GCologists has progressed a lot with the new GC platform. I've just invited you to that platform, and I'd also like to introduce you to Simon or Nathan. I would just do something simple like that to talk about if you're still interested in it from that perspective. Oh, no. What if we've registered a client discussion and it turns out later they want to become a GC partner? Yeah, great. Probably that's not a problem at all. But what you need to do is then go back onto the GC platform and register them as a potential partner. Mark, in the 12 months following introduce, how many times do you reach out to the new prospect regarding attempting to convert them? Ah, great question, Mark. Well, obviously that depends, and it doesn't mean that that you can't speak to them or work with us to bring them on board. Yeah, because you may well have a great relationship with them as well. So we can do it as a tandem. Daria, I missed the answer about the webinar with the gift links. What is the process? How can we do it? Okay, that's a separate question, I think, to the one that Robin put forward. You can use webinar gift links with webinars. The way it works is that you come to us and you say you want to run a webinar. We will then create a webinar page for you. That webinar page will have information about your webinar, what it's looking to do, but basically it will say that in the webinar you are going to be using the GCNX anonymously to prove your service, or how you can use the service operation, and you'll use the resultant data from that, from your participants who have completed it, to explain how the GCNX provides impact. Now, that webinar form on it will then allow the individuals to input their name, their company, their details, and that will automatically create what we call a webinar link. In your GC platform, that will appear, and webinar links, you will, like any other link, you will then send out from the platform. But when they're completed, you won't see the results. Webinar links are anonymous. Right? You've told the audience that they're anonymous, so they have to be anonymous from a GDPR perspective. And then once you've run your webinar, during the webinar, sorry, one step before that, just before the webinar, you then ask us for a webinar report. The webinar report will include, it's like an aggregated snapshot. It will record the aggregate of all of your community of people who are on the webinar, and it will include all the individual profiles of those people, but they're all anonymous. You'll then use that data in the webinar to explain your service offering and how you use that data to support your clients. And at the end of the webinar, we recommend that you ask 3 questions. Number one, well, we kind of poll them actually. Number one is, thank you very much for this, but I'm not interested in the GCNX or how it can be used in my organization. Number 2 is, I am interested in the GCNX. I'd like to know what my individual profile is, but I don't think it's applicable to my business. And then the last one is, yeah, I want to know what my profile is, and I'm interested to understand how we can use this in the organization. Now, typically we get 0% on the first one, 25% on the second one, and 75% on the last one. So all of those are then become gift links. So what you do there is that you request a gift link, a link to be unlocked, because you've now got written or verbal written confirmation from the person that they're happy to see for you to take them through their profile. So now GDPR is okay, and then we can unlock them for you. Yeah, so that's how webinar links work. Okay, I'm going to move on now to the next section, which is in-house GCologists. Now, these are a special breed, actually, because an in-house GCologist is a GCologist that works for a client, as distinct from a GCologist that works for a partner. Now, a client could have hundreds of in-house GCologists. AstraZeneca, for example, have got over 60 now across their business into what they do. And an in-house GCologist could be any kind of role. Maybe the most obvious ones might be HR business partners and L&D professionals and development people and so forth. But we're seeing GCologist leaders becoming GCologists. We're seeing senior management people becoming GCologists. We expect that lots of management development in lots of companies will have part of it often to become GCologists as part of that. And we're going to see companies building it in. And indeed, you might want to think about building it into some of your leadership programs if you're dealing with larger companies as well. And you can come talk to us about that. So it could be anyone in the business, in terms of what it is. Now, why should you encourage them to be in-house GCologists? Because on the one hand, you might argue, well, if you've got people who can do this, then it's removing consulting revenue from your sales. Potentially, yes. But especially if you're talking to larger companies, there's an awful lot of work to be done, and we see a lot of that. But the main reasons, though, to encourage you is, number one, it embeds the GCNX in the organization. Now you've got in-house salespeople, in effect, right? They're going around saying, look, all the different ways that we can use this data. And they're coming up with lots and lots of different ways. Can we do this? Can we do that? So they're coming back to you and saying, look, we've got this idea. Can we use it in this way? How do we use it in recruitment now? How do we use it we've got a big acquisition coming up. How do we use it in terms of looking at our transformation project and so on? So they're coming to you. So it's increasing your service opportunity and your product margin as well. So I would always advocate. In fact, what we've started to recommend partners do is that if you're doing a leadership team workshop, see if you can get one of the leaders to become a GCologist as part of the process. Because then we did one of this recently with a partner, and the HR director became a GCologist of the leadership team. And already we had a secret fan or a fan sitting inside the leadership team who was knowledgeable about the GC Index and was already thinking about how they could use it and was helping the leadership team work with it, see how they can use it. So think about that from that side as well. Now, in terms of how this whole process works, it all comes through you, right? Because we don't deal with the client. So you go out and have a chat with the client. Are there any people in there that want to be GCologists? They request to you that they want an in-house GCologist. Now, there are 3 prices, but UK example, that would be £995 to them. In the US, it's $1,300 and so on. Then what happens is that you contact us and you say, look, I've got these GCologists, or these people inside my clients that want to become in-house GCologists, and we will book them on the courses for you, and we'll manage the whole process from there. So they've gone on. But you then invoice the client for the 995 or the 1,300, whatever it is that they're doing. And then what we do is we invoice you for a lower price. Now that lower price is reflecting the fact that you are losing out potentially on those 3 practice links that get used in accreditation, you could have sold those to the client, and you would have made, in the case of the UK, you'd have made £30 per link as your GC partner margin. Yeah? Or in the US, I think it's $45, whatever it might be. So what we do then is we invoice you the $995 less the GC partner margin you would have made on three links. So in the UK, it's £90. In the US, it's $135, etc. Okay. So there's a benefit not only in terms of them really showcasing and looking at how they can use a GCNX across the business, which helps increase services and also product, but also you earn a small amount as well in terms of introducing. Yes, we do still have the £795 price for people 5 or more. So if they've got a community and they want 5 or more, we can either, when we do that, we can do it as a client only one. So again, you can offer that to your clients, and that could be either online or in London, or we can do it in other places as well, with travel costs on top. But just come to us if you want to do that. But yeah, the £795 still requires. What if I was working with a client who already had a team of in-house GCologists but in a different part of the business that I was working with? Would it suit to me as a GC partner? If they're already in-house GCologists, right, then they've already taken the accreditation. So there's no obviously benefit from this process we're talking about here. However, it's still going to be beneficial to you because now you've got a group of an organization of people who understand the GCNX that you can work with in that piece. And I think it'd be great because you're coming in then and supporting and working with them. Don't forget, with any consulting business, it tends to be to start with, we're doing it to a client because that client has no knowledge and we're helping them. Then we tend to work towards doing it with the client. In that case, doing it with means you need to have some in-house GCologists. And then maybe the client starts doing things on their own in different areas. And so that's, again, where you've got in-house GCologists. Now, the great thing about the GCNX is even in that third category where the client's doing things on their own, they still need to come to you for the GCNX product. Yeah, so they're still coming to you and saying, we're doing a big recruitment campaign, we need 100 links, and you're taking an order for 100 links and making 30% margin on that. Okay, so that's the in-house GCologist piece. Now, the future. So the last piece of this. First of all, we've got these multiple revenue streams that we talked about. There's currently 3 of them. The first one is that, and the biggest one, quite frankly, is that you're all GC partners, you're delivering services to your clients, and that's your core business. And you're embedding the GCNX in solutions that you deliver to your clients. So you're getting consultancy revenue from your time, and you're also getting product margin from using the GCNX. But that's your primary focus. That's what you love doing, okay, from that side. The second revenue stream we have is, let's say I've got 10 clients now. I might only be doing consultancy work with 2 of them right now because of what we're going through, but the other 8 of them, yeah, if I've put in-house GCologists, could be engaged and using the GCNX in their businesses, and they're just buying product from me. So we call this kind of an admin, just place an order and get an order back. Now, again, the 30% margin applies on all this as well. So again, you could have 10 clients, 2 of them you're working with doing services with, the other 8 are constantly buying links from you. So it's a revenue stream that's sitting in the background, if you like. Yeah. And then the third revenue stream is the introduction program. So as we talked about it before, introducing other companies that become GC partners, and then you're earning a passive income based on whatever they're doing. 10% of the partners you've introduced and 5% of the partners they introduce as well. So a very passive revenue stream. So that's great. We've already got these. Now, with the platform, though, we're going to start getting another revenue stream for our partners because we're going to be able to provide different client roles on the platform, which they'll be paying for. So a monthly subscription model. So what we're looking at here is that the vision of the platform is that it will start to support the actual decision-making process in those 20 business areas. things like recruitment. Well, this is my team at the moment. I've got 3 candidates who are going to come into that team. I want a quick look at the impact of having each of the candidates on my aggregate for my team. Boom, 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 right? As a team leader, as a team manager, what can I see? And things like that. So it's going to help in the actual process of the decision making they have to do. So our vision is that potentially for smaller companies, this might become the people system that they use because they get the system free. Yeah, they're using the GC Index and so on. With larger companies, we're definitely going to be integrating with their people systems. And it could be Workday, it could be SAP, Oracle, and so on. So this is the vision of where we're going with the platform. Yeah. And later this year, we're going to be introducing 2 new roles on the platform for clients. One of them will be a manager, leader, user role. So they'll be able to go on the platform, manage who's in their team. Yeah, who are their joiners and leavers, and simply manage that process. They can see their aggregate team profile of the team. They can compare their own profile with each of the direct reports and see, well, how do I manage this person most effectively, etc. Manage team over time, so using potentially the team audit piece. Performance management, you know, when I'm doing my annual reviews, what should I need to understand with this individual to get them understand how they are in their role? Recruitment, which people might work best within the team, and so on. And the same with the project leader user role. So, you know, managing who's in their project, aligning project roles to individuals, aggregating the project profile, team profiles, and managing all the different interactions with that project team. Now, these 2 user roles will be subscriptions. So you'll be able to go into your client and talk to them about these roles. And whenever they decide to use them, then they'll be paying a monthly fee for these roles. And you'll be earning 30% on that as well. So to look to start to create a monthly subscription model that supports you as partners. Later on in the year, we're also going to come up with a new platform, sorry, a new object of a role object. Now, if you think about it, every role we can define what kind of proclivities might we want for that role. You know, what does it look at? What should we have against it? And then if we have a role object, we can then start saying, okay, how do we align people to it? How might we want to look at the recruitment process? What are we looking for in individuals, etc. So we'll have that one. And we'll also then bring out a business process user role. So where I can map out the stage of the business process. You know, what do I need at each step of that business process? How do I align people to it based on their profiles? How do I see an aggregate view of each of the group at each stage of that process and the whole business process itself? What if I do what if scenarios? So I bring these 5 people in to do this particular role instead of another one, and so on. So we're going to provide that. But again, that will be a subscription role. Now, all of this functionality is going to be available to yourselves, as GC partners, but as well as that, we've got managers and leaders and users that can use it and pay for it in terms of this piece. So to generate this subscription model. So what have we got here? Katrine, can you make these slides available afterwards? Yes, of course. In fact, we'll make the recording available as well. We're going to put the slides and the recording into the resources hub. You can see it, there's a theme here. Everything goes into the resources hub, so everyone can see it. And that's it. Any other questions around any of this, especially the last piece as well? It'll be interesting to see. We're all in the sort of development stage on this at the moment, so it's early days, but it'd be really good to get your feedback on it and see how it might work and how you can see it being applied. Also, different types of user roles, if you think they might be appropriate within organizations, etc. But if we can start providing all of our partners with a subscription revenue stream as well, then that we'd be really happy with that, because then you've got different revenue streams coming off the back of your engagement with the GC Index. So I'll open it up to anyone who wants to say anything at the moment. We've got 2 minutes left.
So the new portion you were saying, the subscription model that clients paying for, did you mean that we could run what ifs ourselves and use that to consult with, and then maybe sell that on to them after we've left for them to carry on their own. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, it's a combination of these, because obviously you can go in providing all kinds of services to them. Yeah, but you're going to need to have the capability to do what if scenarios, to do all these things. So you're as GCologists as partners, then you've got the ability to do that. But equally, you know, especially if you're talking to large organizations, you might want to leave them with the ability to look at some of this information themselves, especially if they become GCologists here. So an in-house GCologist will have to pay for this functionality as well. So it's not
Cool.
for free. Yeah. Does that
Thank
help?
you. Yeah, sounds very exciting actually to be able to. Might be easier to sell, to turn around and goes, all right, if we just had this and this is what might happen. Might be, it's very interesting.
Well, we actually think we might get scenarios where companies come to us and say, we want the platform, we don't want to use the GC Index because there's so much on it. Well, obviously we will never do that, but with the intention is that we want to build an infrastructure around using GC Index, which has got a huge amount of value in its own right. Yeah, so it's just embed it right across the organization. So
as someone who puts HR systems in, Simon, that's quite interesting, that HR system piece, especially for SMEs, because it's an interesting market out there. So I'd be quite interested to see how that evolved, and happy to have a chat about that, because I do that's part of my day job.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. You know, especially the smaller end of the market, they're not exactly sure what they need actually a lot of the time. And I think that getting this free as part of doing the GC Index is quite an interesting proposition. Well, look, thanks very much, everyone, for your time and your interest as well. We'll be putting all this into the resources hub. If you've got any questions, just ping me an email, you know, and we're always here to support. So have a great evening, everyone.